have since renamed it as the recovery protocol. And the way that they taught us was just slightly different. A few of the reps were different and stuff. I've like modified to my, oh, I realized I forgot one thing here. Oh. So, what the situation is that we would use this, we're at the end of our Metcon, or we're doing like a EMOM or something like that, and we have a little gap of recovery. But let's just say it's the end of the Metcon, end of the Tabata, which is what we're going to do here today. So let's use that as an example. We've just done our Tabata. We're trying to recover as quickly as we can because we're going to have another one in a few minutes or something like that. Or we just want to recover quickly. So step one, these are the steps. Step one is 5 breaths in through my mouth, out through my mouth. Every single breath we do on this chart during this protocol is max volume and fairly quick, okay? And it's all diaphragmatic breaths, which we're going to talk about in a second, okay? So it's 5 in through the mouth, out through the mouth. 7, step 2 now is 7 in through the nose, out through the mouth. Step 3, we go back up. 5 in through the mouth, out through the mouth. Step 4, 7 in through the nose, out through the mouth. And then step 5 is in through the nose, out through the nose. This is best case scenario, you have as much time to go through this all. Now, if it's like a really quick, you only have like 30 seconds to recover, you can't, that's too much time, you're not gonna be able to do that. I would modify this and do mouth, mouth, nose, mouth, maybe that's it. Maybe you can get through all 3 levels quickly. Maybe you just go here, 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 and then you're back to working out. The global theme is, can I get to nose breathing as quickly as possible? That's the goal with all this stuff. The assumption here is that I'm at the end of the workout, I have that bad CO2-O2 ratio, I'm dumping that carbon dioxide like we talked about. If I just go from that to nasal breathing, not gonna happen. You're not gonna be able to do it. You don't have you can be, willpower yourself as much as you want, it's just ain't gonna happen. You have to start to gradually shift that CO2-O2 ratio. So that's what we're doing. So with the inhale through the mouth, exhale through the mouth, not only have I'm accepting the fact that I'm in that place, and I'm actually leaning into it. So I'm breathing really hard to finish the Metcon. Okay, I need to recover. So now I'm gonna go through this and kind of demo and talk each one through you, and then we're gonna try it together. Okay, so I'm gonna do my in through the mouth, out through the mouth, and so there's 5 rounds of that. Each time when I'm breathing, I'm pulling into my stomach first, and I actually put my hands on my stomach when I'm doing this. And I want into my stomach, so this is the diaphragmatic breathing. I'm pulling in using my diaphragm. Belly goes out in a perfect world in all directions. We want the belly expanding in all directions. Then the chest opening up and expanding in all directions. So it's belly, then chest to get maximal volume. And then I just dump the exhale. So that's how those 5 breaths are going to go. The next one, same idea, but now it's coming through the nose. Belly first, expansion, then ribs, then dump the exhale. So I'm still going through my mouth. I do that 7 times. Then in a perfect world, I go back up to 5 and 5, 7 and 7, and then 9 and 9 is my finishing. And then by the time I finish, if I haven't worked out at all, when I do this with you guys, I'm going to feel super lightheaded and it's like kind of trippy. Because you guys have just worked out and gone really hard, it's going to make you feel really like good and recovered. What's happening that's differently, I'm like super oxygenating myself. You guys are like recovery oxygenating yourself. That's not a word, but you know what I'm saying, right? Questions on that at all before we dive in and start actually doing this? I know it's starting to get cold again, so.
If you have to completely recovered after that, just continue nose breathing or start the cycle over again?
Good question. I would say start the cycle over again if you can. Yeah, so I would say, and it's very likely, I would be surprised if you did not feel recovered after that. But yes. Just watch me. Yeah.
Is that a challenge?
Good challenge.
Yeah.
So let's just all be clear on the diaphragmatic breathing too, because that's referring to more the mechanics of how we're breathing, where this has a little bit to do with the mechanics, but it's more about the style of the breathing, right?
When I breathe in, my stomach goes in.
Yeah.
not out.
Yeah, and that's a common, I think that's a common, I'm gonna use the term motor pattern error, where your body's just used to pulling in through your chest. So, because that you have to get the movement somewhere, right? And when it ends up doing is, if it's not coming here, it's gonna end up being your chest. We talked about 3 lobes and 2 lobes. So you're kind of pulling into maybe these top 3 lobes is what you're using. We're leaving these bottom ones out. And so that's where that diaphragm pulls in. So a good way to work on this is we can do it seated. You can do this in any position. Seated is probably the best to learn it, or you can do standing, it's up to you. So put your hand, one hand on your back, one hand on your belly, and you're just gonna think about pushing your hands away from each other, okay? And try to do it in through your nose, but it's not that big of a deal right now. So just breathe in, and I like to actually visualize the air. The air is coming in, it's expanding my stomach. So it's coming down, 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 it's coming out, literally pushing my hands out of the way. And you might come out and then back in, that's fine, just so it's okay. Just try to do a couple breaths. And it sometimes feels gross if you're used to kind of keeping your stomach in, like to push it out. That's okay, just go with it.
What happens on the exhale?
On the exhale, it's going to come in.
In.
Okay, now I want you guys to add in the volume of the upper lobes, so getting the ribs and everything to move as well. So what it's going to look like is I'm going to show you guys visually all the way so you can see. It's really cold in here. So it's
It's just an excuse.
so see how it's out,
Wait.
and up, out, and up. See how it's that? So it's here first. Then we're allowed. A lot of people have been told like you should never feel this move when you're breathing diaphragmatically. Yes, if that's correct if you're doing like a slow ramp down thing. That's not what we're doing. We're ramping down, but we're doing it through a different way. Like our means is through max volume. So again, if I do this, it's going to be okay. So it's out and then it comes in. So if that's helpful for you,
I feel like you're doing both and both.
both and both. So we can kind of
Going out and
yeah, they're kind of both coming out and in and out and in
all
like
in,
that.
like you're going out and in on the inhale and out and in on the exhale. Like right there, you're
It kind of
in.
dribbles through your body. That's
Yeah.
through the
It's like the
diaphragm and
warm-up
then
goes
up.
up.
I think
Yeah.
part of it also, which is because your diaphragm, so as I'm coming out, this comes out, and then my chest expands larger, so the relative size looks different. But this is why, that's actually a really good point. This is why the tactile is really important, because to Mike's point, it looks like my stomach is expanding, and then as soon as my ribs expand, my stomach's contracting, right?
Yeah.
But it's not. It's actually the ratio of the two is just, it visually looks a lot different, but because my ribs are expanding so much. So it's, because I can feel the excursion or the amount away from each other doesn't change, yet this gets bigger. Maybe there's a little tiny movement, but it's not as much as it looks like. But that's a good observation. So, which is again why like the visual of watching a partner or a mirror isn't as helpful in this as the tactile cueing of like feeling that movement. Okay, so I want everyone to do one time through this. It's gonna feel a little gross because it's gonna feel not gross, it's gonna feel a little weird because you haven't exercised. So we'll just do one time through, not the full meal deal because that's gonna be too much for you guys right this second until you've done the workout. We're just gonna do step 1, step 2, and then step 5, okay? So let's do it together. Here we go, 5 breaths in. I'm gonna use my fingers to count so I don't have to talk at the same time. All right, ready? Quick and deep. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
It makes you feel like, ooh, a little lightheaded, right? So we just pumped in a bunch of oxygen. You can actually do a really cool breath. You can do a breath hold for longer than you've ever done if you wanted to right now. You could just, you just don't have to breathe. You don't even have to hold in, you can just breathe. You don't even have to breathe. But because we just pumped it all. So, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, so when we exhale, we're not forcing it out? We're
No, you're just
letting it out.
dumping it. Yeah, letting it go versus forcing it out, which is a subtle difference, but there is a difference. Yeah, good question.
The speed of the breaths with the nose, obviously, you're going to be slower.
Say that again.
Shouldn't be trying to push to keep the speed of the breaths the same.
No, it's not necessarily about cadence being the same. You just want to think max inhale, max volume inhale, quick deep, let it go. Max volume, quick deep, let it go. Okay. So what we're going to do now is, any other questions before we do the next thing? Awesome, this is where it gets fun. Okay, so, it hasn't been fun already. We're going to do the same spot that we just did, but now we're going to not only beat our number that we just did, we're going to recover faster because now you guys have a recovery protocol. So, let's hop on your machines.
Should you breathing during the...
No, during, you just go hard. Don't worry about it during. As soon as you're done, you're going to jump right into this recovery protocol. I'll do it with you guys. We'll all kind of do it together since we're finishing at the same time. But if you end up getting off or paying attention and doing this too much, just focus on doing the recovery, okay? All right, actually, before we do that, let's get our bodies ready to move again real quick since we've been sitting. So let's give me 10 jumping jacks. 10 jumping jacks. Once you do 10 jumping jacks, give me 5 toe touch air squat.